Sony may not release the PlayStation VR2 until the following year, but after months of slowly releasing information, the corporation has now allowed the press to view and use the VR headset, even with limited use. It already appears like the new headset will be a significant improvement over the previous PSVR in almost every aspect. The hardware. For starters, it closely follows the design language of the PS5 and has a lot more contemporary appearance. Additionally, you just need one USB-C cable to connect it to your PS5. For a more fluid gaming experience, the headset itself boasts an OLED screen, a 110-degree field of view, 4K HDR, and supports frame rates of 90Hz and 120Hz. Unlike its predecessor, the headgear includes 4 cameras incorporated into the front of the display, so you won't need to set up external cameras to follow your motions. Similar to the DualSense, the new orb-shaped PSVR2 Sense controllers have adjustable triggers, haptic feedback, and the ability to detect finger touches. The headset. But how does using the PSVR2 with all of its additional features feel when playing games? The PSVR2 gear itself was a delight to use. The interpupillary distance may be adjusted so that the lenses inside the headset are the proper distance for you. And like most contemporary VR headsets, it allows you to adjust the head strap to ensure that everything lays properly on your head. The screens looked fantastic, but occasionally, as with the original PSVR, things felt a little bit foggy in the borders. The Sense controller. The new Sense controllers from Sony were a significant upgrade. The first PSVR was dependent on Sony's Move controllers, which, as you may recall, were quirky ones with luminous balls on the end. The first PSVR setup occasionally had difficulties tracking the glowy balls, which could spoil the immersive VR experience. Additionally, the original Move controller's charging port had a mini USB port. Thankfully, Sony resolved that final issue by using micro USB, so perhaps it wasn't a significant change. On the other hand, the Sense controllers appear to be much superior. The haptics was superb, which might not come as a huge surprise if you've experienced Sony's superb haptics with the DualSense. A highly useful approach to engaging with VR worlds was touch detection. You can pick up weapons, sure, but you can also use your fingertips to interact with things more naturally. Although it wasn't flawless and wasn't there in every game we tested, when it did work, it increased the immersion. The games. With the PlayStation VR2, you may play 4 games in a single day. 3 of them were remakes, ports, or extensions of already released games. The second was a completely original game based on a well-known franchise, Sony's Horizon series. None of the titles significantly innovated VR, and many of the controls were similar to those of other games that players have grown accustomed to over time. Other games will undoubtedly appear because the PSVR2 isn't anticipated to launch until early 2023, though Sony has stated that the PSVR2 won't be backward compatible with the previous PSVR titles. More than anything else, these trials gave you a chance to compare Sony's new headset and controllers to what you've used in the past. Horizon, Call of the Mountain, Guerrilla, Sony. Earlier this year, Sony's flagship PSVR2 exclusive game was announced. This standalone game, which has some similarities to the PS4 or PS5 games and is set in the same far future scenario as Horizon Zero Dawn and Horizon Forbidden West, is designed for newbies to enjoy as well. The demo put me on a boat and took me on a river ride that reminded me of Jurassic Park, passing by watchers that resembles raptors and a huge lumbering tall neck that towered over overhead. The game then revolves around exploring remote settlements, using a bow and arrow to shoot arrows at foes and hidden targets, and scaling cliffs by holding ledges like in the VR game, The Climb. The scenery is stunning, and the colors are vibrant. Additionally, as you climb ledges and fire arrows, you'll notice the outstanding controller feedback when enormous animals advance in your general direction. The rumbling headset haptics also comes into play. Call of the Mountain is undoubtedly an experience to lose yourself in, even though the demo finishes sooner than you'd like. The sensation you received is huge and theatrical. The benefits of eye tracking only manifest themselves elsewhere to create enhanced graphics with foveated rendering, something the other games you played also have in common. According to the developers, eye tracking is subtly used later in the game, possibly to allow characters to make eye contact with me. Resident Evil Village, Capcom. It reads like an immersive theater, a sleep no more style horror experience, and the world's scale works perfectly. The game's motion tracking occasionally doesn't match up with your body. There were a few bugs in some demos, but the game's speed and the quality of the graphics give it an almost non-VR experience. You might also cease thinking about the controls because, according to the design, it appears as though they melted away. Star Wars, Tales from the Galaxy's Edge, ILM-X Lab. One of your preferred MetaQuest 2 games are being converted to PlayStation VR2. Earlier this year, ILM-X Lab released Star Wars, Vader Immortal as a surprise game. It's a shooter with cantina breaks that takes place on the planet Batu, the same one where Disney's Galaxy's Edge theme park is located. The characters all seem much more vibrant, thanks to improved graphics and controller haptics, and all the weapons now have an eerie feeling of vibrating realism. The trigger and recoil of a small blaster are different from those of a huge pulsating shotgun. Using haptics, you may recognize weapons based on how they feel. The Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners Chapter 2, Skydance. Although this new chapter isn't yet published anywhere, the gameplay, many zombies, loads of weapons to load up, and dozens of places on my body to pin flashlights and other items is the same as in previous chapters. The most striking features are the modest haptics and the enhanced graphics. A few drawbacks. Tethering, tracking. Unfortunately, the PSVR2 only has a single USB-C connector that tethers it to the PS5, but still has a tether when using a VR headset to play PC games. At least there's only one wire, and it was tolerable even though it occasionally wrapped around you when you turned a lot in some action games. Another problem you might have noticed is that the headset or the controllers occasionally lost track of the headset. You may have confused the in-headset tracking cameras because of using a very earlier version of the gear, and a camera person was shooting you up close while you are playing. However, any tracking loss isn't ideal. Will any video games actually utilize eye tracking? Eye tracking has the potential to enhance gaming controls by enabling you to target an object with your eyes alone without having to move your head or the controller. Making eye contact with the characters could provide an intimate, theatrical experience in order to better provide ideas or clues depending on where it knows you're not looking. Games may start keeping heat maps of your attention. There is still no information available on the PlayStation VR2's pricing, formal release date, or expanded list of launch titles. This is undoubtedly the VR experience you've always wanted on a PlayStation, despite the fact that it isn't a standalone headset. By themselves, the new controllers enhance haptics and upgraded triggers propel modern gaming technology into uncharted territory. Compared to the Quest 2, you greatly prefer the PSVR2 headset. Smaller weight, wider field of view, greater resolution, and OLED display. The PSVR2 appears to have the potential to be the final resting place for a whole new wave of more spectacular VR games, even while the Quest 2 is still the greatest standalone VR device available. So what can you say about the PlayStation VR2? Do you have any suggestions for further improvement? Please let me know by leaving a comment below. And if you enjoy this video, please press the like button, turn on the notification bell, and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Thank you for stopping by to watch. See you in our next video.